And us WUMBO is able to play TC so fine well. And now BEASTINSHEN has a laptop playing. I mean, it really says a lot how this
Oh
match is
my
probably
god.
gonna go.
BEASTINSHEN's really like vibing like Red Skull. They guide others to a treasure they cannot possess.
Like WUMBO's like, hey, you gave me this PC. Now let me cook you alive as you play on a laptop. Literally.
I mean, I don't know about Cook You Alive. BEASTINSHEN's been playing really well.
Yeah.
Even with the laptop.
Yeah, I might be saying stuff too soon.
Definitely speaking too soon. Was trying to get it to a tankable scenario, and they do. It's going to be a very large zone coming in from WUMBO. Unfortunately, they are going to get line locked here. Wait. Amazing IRS to find the 19 anyway, but that is only 48, and Shen's going to be able to tank that entire zone.
Yeah, and right now Shen is some phase of this, like you said, Shen tanked that zone, and they are now going to start up their zone, and that's enough to put a lot of significant damage on WUMBO, as WUMBO has a misdrop that really just puts a damper on their board.
And what an amazing L-spin to fix an otherwise incomprehensible situation. And one thing that we're definitely noticing is that even through past performance, if anybody's gonna challenge WUMBO on their awareness and game knowledge, it's definitely going to be Shen. We can see that they're finding amazing advantage at every opportunity. And WUMBO, once again, the game just loves them, giving them both eyepieces exactly when they need it.
Yeah, and not just that, but also WUMBO exercising like their thinking process. I mean, we've seen it happen in previous games. And WUMBO is just using that to their advantage to try and tank just bits of garbage before starting up the zone again.
This is very interesting decision from BEASTINSHEN to take a zoneless transition given how insane of a board state they had. Is it going to work? Let's find out. But WUMBO did just get a lot of time to recover. They see the zone chunks, they see the end, and the zone's gonna be forced right about now. Shen's still in a pretty good board state. They only have one hole in their stack, and then they can really start piling on the pressure. But WUMBO's gonna get almost max lines, sending 30 over, but it's completely neutralized by Shen's basic pressure.
And just as WUMBO recognizes that forward potential, WUMBO's immediately gonna start it up.
Actually, like, pattern-seeking like Monkey Brain. Whenever they see 4-wide, they must 4-wide, and it's gonna work dang near every time. Gonna see them immediately yoink advantage with a 12 combo, putting Shen at a very uncomfortable height. But Shen does have max zone if it comes down to it. Gonna use it while they still have a good opportunity to. Not gonna get too greedy on waiting for the perfect time. But WUMBO right now has pretty negligible damage they're receiving, and was able to keep back-to-back for a lot of that, and break back-to-back with a micro combo. Sending 41 to Shen, who is going to use both of their tanks before the C-spin. And that means they're going to have a decent amount of overcharge after this. Is it going to be enough? Let's find out. I doubt it's going to be enough for this 4-wide follow-up, though.
Yeah, especially WUMBO, like, just only have a little bit of chunks of garbage. I mean, it's gonna be able to cancel that and effectively also be able to pressure BEASTINSHEN at the same time.
Yeah, that was a 16 combo for WUMBO. WUMBO was able to identify the double single skim for more damage rather than the just normal double.
Yeah.
And even though that probably wasn't necessary, that's really good vision. And of course, expected from WUMBO, John 4-wide.
Actually true.
They're literally the ties.
I mean, we've seen them a lot. I mean, it all started with Johnny Bones, I think.
And oh my goodness, the board state that Shen has right now is so good. It's immaculate. And they're gonna recognize that and start their zone as soon as they can. Unfortunately, not able to get too much efficiency later in the zone. But that is still going to be an ulti, sending 59. I don't believe WUMBO had too much pre-pressure there. So Shen should... And WUMBO's actually going to be forced to tank, and most of it isn't clean.
Yeah, but they're still able to access the well right there. And, I mean, and so far, both players are at neutral state. BEASTINSHEN setting up that Kaidan. WUMBO just now on the upstack with 6-3. But BEASTINSHEN still has to fix up their board, though, as it's gonna probably look deadly as WUMBO goes into the zone.
And oh my goodness, what an amazing combo for Shen to find in order to fix their board state. Immediately gonna find a cut copy as well. They're gonna start their zone, and while they still have a good board state, they're not gonna take any chances. And WUMBO's gonna find this TST in the zone. Absolutely ludicrous find at the top. I think that said 65? This is going to be a very rough time for Shen. And WUMBO setting the bulk of their material while Beastin is at the bottom of their board with no cancel material, and WUMBO takes their second round.
Yeah, I mean, like WUMBO, I mean, like we've seen before, WUMBO like exercising his fundamentals, using it to his advantage. I mean, that's one thing that drives WUMBO into winning the game, winning these matches, and when it counts.
And oh my goodness, Shen is not all spin brain rotted. I repeat, Shen is not all spin brain rotted. They found the optimal combo that did not include the all spin. I can't believe it.
WUMBO able to find that ulti despite that forced zone, and that's still significant for Shen, as Shen has to build that 3-wide in order to cancel most of it.
This is actually a pretty good 3-wide for Shen. The combo didn't drop for as long as the 3-wide was there. And that's gonna send WUMBO a decent amount of material. Interesting decision for WUMBO to cancel everything though, knowing that they're gonna be receiving mostly clean. WUMBO's gonna access their wells in flawless fashion, get to a completely man-made stack, but still isn't as clean as they want it to be. And Shen is just piling on the pressure, widening their lead. And what an amazing counter 4 from Shen to get down from the scenario they were just in. But that is going to be the end of their zone, only sending 28. Is quite devastating in this scenario. But WUMBO only being at 32k likely isn't going to transition here. Exactly what happens. Shen is going to have one more opportunity to recuperate.
Yeah, I mean that stack right there. I mean it's just isn't enough. I mean, Shen didn't have the zone inside as Shen used that zone, and given that stack and the residue, I mean, it was really difficult.
Yeah. Things were looking good for Shen, but they didn't have the final piece of the puzzle. They didn't have the important zone meter. So they are just going to have to eat that top out. But both players in the 6-3. WUMBO hesitating a little bit, maybe looking to see if they could snipe Shen with their overstack. But Shen was not having it. Oh my, WUMBO got column 7. Okay, I think TC is playing favorites. This has been constant. I'm not crazy, right?
I mean, we seen some moments where it's conveniently placed forward and conveniently placed clean has been a factor so far. I mean,
Nice attack from WUMBO, sending 69 over to Shen. They didn't break back-to-back up until like row 19. But Shen just ate all of it as clean. And they're gonna be at the zone advantage.
Yeah, that garbage chunk was just enough for Shen to tank most of it and ultimately give WUMBO some of basically retaliate back.
And that was an amazing bounce attack from Shen, recognizing where their well was. It didn't do the initial intuitive placement. And that's actually a really good transition zone for Shen there. It's going to put WUMBO in a very bad spot. They're going to be forced to use their zone advantage at a time they don't want to. And Shen's completely man-made. Shen tanks the first, realizes they shouldn't be tanking the second, gets the T-spin in zone, send max attack. But now we're back to neutral. And as I say that, WUMBO ends up cascading through all of their material. Finding a TST as well.
Shen's forced to zone here, but just that constant pressure from WUMBO going on, I mean, it's gonna be hard for Shen to get out of here. And
amazing down stacks from Shen. They looked for the TST, but unfortunately that earlier placement is gonna end up cooking them. And WUMBO, sweep pace match point.
yeah, I don't think there wasn't even any space for a TST there. I think either way, Shen's would have to bail on it. As I mean, the constant pressure from WUMBO was still flying through, and given being at the top, it's always a precarious situation being at the top and then knowing, could you do this?
And Shen's gonna cascade through all their material. And with the misdrops on WUMBO's side, this is likely gonna be a zone force. Oh my. Okay, WUMBO isn't that greedy. For a moment there, I thought they were gonna try and take everything, and Shen would have given them time with their zone start. But right now, this looks to be a very Shen-favored interaction. WUMBO only sending 37, but Shen's taking their time with this one.
Shen exercising their IRS, able to utilize it, and that puts WUMBO way at the top.
And WUMBO, I'm not sure that was the best TSS to go for. But once again, they get every piece that they need. So they're going to be completely fine. I swear TEC isn't picking favorites, right?
I don't know, man. I mean, we've seen a lot from WUMBO prior to this match. I don't know. At this point,
I don't know.
At this point, WUMBO probably knows more than we do.
WUMBO is in that pattern stack. This is going to be a very efficient zone. Despite not even crossing the 40k threshold, this might even transition with how efficient it is. But Shen's not too far behind in the line count. This is looking like it's going to be a simul clear. WUMBO does transition, 61 on a Perfectress, very impressive zone. But Shen is able to survive. Now it's up to WUMBO's follow-up in order to secure this game. And Shen's going to do everything in their power to make sure that doesn't happen. But looking at this current situation, it is pretty dire.
Shen is really thinking what to do here, and going for that TSD was probably the most rickiest move, as it compromised their board state, ending up forcing to zone here. And WUMBO's just prime position to put this game away, as Shen has nothing else to do.
And that is going to be game set WUMBO's very impressive run, winning all 3 matches of their pre-recorded gauntlet. And yeah, I know exactly what happened there on Shen's end with that I mishold. They thought they were receiving a little bit too much damage, were forced to skim. They weren't, and they still had to pay the price for that decision. But other than that, really well played from Shen.
Just to defend, but I mean, in the moment when WUMBO's pressing you, I mean, you also have the priority to get out of, which, I mean, which would you want to choose? Going for the TSD, just to defend yourself and cancel some, or going to try to find an escape, like a downstack?
So yeah,